Thursday, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Hey, let's obliterate the like button today. How about that? How about we just smash it? Let's have a big like button day today. Appreciate everybody in the chat section, everybody streaming, everybody listening. He's Gunner. He's Pork Chop. I am Rob. We are hanging out with you on this Wednesday. Hope everybody's doing well out there. All right, guys. So let's talk a little Eagles offense, because as we mentioned, Jalen Hurts gets the nod again for Player of the Week. Rightfully so. Let's just sit back and look at his last two games. Packers throws for $153, runs for $157. Oh, by the way, 2 touchdowns. Last week, 29 of 39, 380 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also rushed for 1. Ho-hum. That's not bad production for 2 weeks out of your quarterback. But I think he is a mirror to the whole offense. What I mean by that is it can be something completely different every week. They're very hard to game plan for or to take something away from. In other words, you guys know, I mean, the Titans didn't defend the pass well. The Eagles destroyed them in the pass. The week before, Green Bay did not handle the run well. Eagles destroyed them in the run. It doesn't matter. They can hurt you so many different ways.
You look at, as a defensive coordinator, it is so hard to just pick how you're going to go in and what do you want to stop first? Not just, or you want to stop the pass, or you want to stop the run, but also you want to stop the quarterback, you want to stop the running back, or you want to stop the wide receivers. Oh, maybe you have to stop the tight end. It's so hard to get, devise a plan to stop everything, to stop everybody. When you have the best offensive line in the league, it really gives you the autonomy to really dictate whatever you want to do to an opposing defense. I mean, those guys up front are so good that it makes Jalen Hurts shine. It
Right.
makes the wide receivers look like they can blast down the field and catch deep passes because they're protecting for the quarterback. Or Miles Sanders running for over 100 yards when you have offensive line blowing guys off the ball. Centers running around, pulling around on second and third level. Being able to just smash people up front. And then, by the way, be able to take your best defender and make them null and void. That's what they do best.
Yep.
The strength, they take the strength sometimes and use it against you. Especially, it was special to me when I watched the Dallas game, where they took Micah Parsons, the best player, the best defender in the league at the time, and render him without even effort, put him at a point, just rendering him null and void during certain times of the game, using his strength against him, using his speed to get up the field, running in behind him, using his speed to get up the field, optioning it off him to run their RPOs. It was masterful how they did that. Now, it worked up until, Lane went out the game, and that's when it got tough because they just moved him over to the other side, and he was pass rushing against, a second team guy. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's just so hard to defend them with that offensive line as good as that offensive line.
Go ahead, Gunner. You're muted.
not just how good the offensive line is, but how versatile it is.
Yes.
That is a luxury you don't have with most teams in the National Football League. When you have to implement other pieces, there's no drastic drop-off like there is with most other teams. Now, we all agree the guard position has been suspect this year, but in the past blocking. But when it comes to run blocking, no matter who is across the board on those 5 guys, it is like synchronized swimming. They don't miss anything, man. You got Lane Johnson against Green Bay constantly trap blocking, coming left. It's Jason Kelsey getting down the field, hitting 2 and 3 different blockers, opening up holes, as well as anybody in the league. And then you have a quarterback with the ability to buy extended time. Think about it. He's been sacked 30 times, but look at how many times he's avoided a sack with his ability and his strength to shake off a would-be a defender. That speaks volumes in terms of part of his overall makeup to do a lot of what he has done this year. and he's smart. He gets down. He's not taking unnecessary hits. He's one of the faster quarterbacks in the league as well. He's picking up chunks of real estate. This young man, every week, he's just adding more dollars to his coffer in terms of what he's going to get when he sits down across from Howie Roseman, whether they're doing it now or whether when the season is over. This team is in such a good place with this offense, with this quarterback, and most of these people are going to be back next year to continue this.
Yep.
We don't know the status of Kelsey because he's been retiring for 3 years, but that's okay because you got a rookie who we've seen sporadically.
Yeah, he looks like he's
nailed the job.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
He's a little bit bigger version of a Kelsey. He's tutored by one of the best in the game right now to play the position. He's on an offensive line that's the best in the business right now. So basically, this team, this offense, is outside of the quarterback, because there is a significant drop off from Jalen to Gardner Minshew. But outside of that, it's a plug and play offense.
Right.
Think about it. It's a plug and play offense. There's only a few offenses you can say that about in the National Football League, and those are offenses that are going to the playoffs.
Well, the other thing I'm not concerned about however much money Jalen Hurts gets. I mean, obviously it has cap ramifications, so that it affects how you can go about your business. That part, yes. But I know this guy is not all of a sudden going to get some monster paycheck and go blow it and become complacent and think he's got it made and start sniffing himself. That part, that's a big concern sometimes with young guys, and you never have to worry about that with this dude because of the way he's wired.
Absolutely.
That's a huge thing.
He is the franchise. You know, the franchise looks to him for all the support in the world. You know, he can, you know, the franchise can trust that he's going to do the right thing. He's going to make the right moves.
Right.
He's going to say the right things. I mean, the only thing that he said that he was even just a little bit controversial is, you know, you got to treat, you know, the game like if you have a bad play, you got to chalk it up as a deuce. You guys got to flush it. You know what I'm saying? And don't think about it.
Say that.
That's the only thing he said that's kind of compromising as far as who he is and that doesn't even, I mean, that's just, you know, you're not supposed to say that in the media. I mean, I don't care. Yeah. I don't care, but a lot of people, you know, were offended by it. But so what? But, you know, he brings everything to the table. Everything to the table. And I think that may be the only thing that you really look at him and you can't vote him the MVP candidate. That only thing is he has such a great offensive line in front of him that could that be the reason why he's playing as great as he's playing?
I think that's a significant part of it.
Yeah, I think it helps for sure. I don't know if you hold that against him. I don't know.
No, you don't hold it against him.
I think that you could certainly make a case for a lot of different people. I mean, Mahomes lost Tyreek Hill. That's a big deal. But he's got a great offensive mind in Andy Reid and Bieniemy and that crew that's there.
Best tight end in the league.
Best tight end in the league. Yep. You know, and then if you want it, I don't think Josh Allen is as much in the discussion as he used to be. But I mean, you could say, well, he's got Stephon Diggs and he's got, you know, whatever. He's got other talented players. Gabe Davis is underrated, I think.
Yeah, he is.
And he had Dable for years. So I don't know. I mean, I think you can make a case, you know, across the board. But I also just, you know, everything's certainly dictated off the offensive line and what the quarterback's doing. But you also have an offense that we were talking about earlier that it just has great balance. I mean, I'm looking at this team right now, and they're second in points. They're fifth in rushing. They're 13th again, you know, passing. Their ratio is 61.2 to 38.8 pass run, which is very balanced in this day and age. Like that is really balanced, which means they can lean on anything they need, anything at any time.
If they wanted to be a pass happy team, they would be in the top 3 in the league without a question. When you think about he can throw for 340 yards one game when he feels like it, and only throws for $170 the next game because he doesn't need it. Right. Think about if he consistently threw as many passes as a Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. How many yards? Where would they be in the passing game? They would accidentally average 300 plus yards passing a game by accident, without effort. With the way that offense is run, the creativity in the offense, the depth, the wealth of talent, his improvement in accuracy, arm strength. There's no question about it, but they don't have to because they're so good at keeping a defense off balance. You don't know what's coming next at any given moment with this team.
And they trust guys, trust them too.
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
You're the youngest dude in the huddle, and you have the most trust out of anybody in that huddle.
Yeah,
Think about that.
That trust is earned. You don't just get that. You're not just
question.
given that. So Nick Sirianni a little bit earlier. This is coming from our friend EJ Smith of the Inquirer, who's a guest of the show. He said that when asked about Odell Beckham Jr., Sirianni said, "This is the best group of wide receivers he's ever been around. Really excited about the room," and I'll leave it at that. Because there are some people saying now the Eagles might swoop in. Hey, look, I'm not telling you I'm anti, but I don't. I'm good with what they have too.
We don't need it.
You don't need it. We
don't have enough. There's not enough passes to go around as it is.
As it is, you're right. Devontae goes games where he gets 3-4 passes.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we don't mean you add just another weapon to sit on a bench, collect dust. It just doesn't make sense. And still, there's a reason why Odell is not working out for teams. There is a reason why. When you're as blessed as he is as an athlete, you want to go out and work out for teams. You want to showcase who you are. He's been showcasing his entire career.
Absolutely.
That's all he's been doing, showcasing. So
you think that he's not healthy?
No, he's not healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He would go out there and show if he was healthy.
He's trying to hoodwink and bamboozle people.
Absolutely. And because it's getting close to the end of the season.
Yep.
Nobody's going to take a chance on him, probably after. If he doesn't get signed this week, his chances of being signed are going to be slim to none.
Yep. Or you know what's going to happen? Him and his agent are going to have to eat a little crow and lessen their asking price significantly just to catch on with the team and have to bank on his productivity over the remainder of the regular season. And he's going to put himself in a position to be with a playoff team. So the regular season coupled with the playoffs, that's when you go back to the negotiating table to ask for bigger numbers. But you may have to eat some crow and take a significantly less amount in your asking price. If I were teams, we know NFL teams and ownerships play dirty pool. As much as they're competitive, they're also on the same board in terms of trying to do certain things. I mean, the stories I've heard about how they collude it's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no question about that.
One of the best stories I ever heard about, and I'm not going to say who did this, when Hugh Douglas was a free agent, and Hugh Douglas was going out to teams. Now, Hugh Douglas had a knee issue, but it was kept quiet. He kept it quiet, and he was told by certain people within the Eagles organization they would keep it quiet. He gets to Seattle, and as soon as he gets to Seattle, the first thing he asks, "How's the knee?" And he's like, "What?" So Seattle didn't sign him, and that's why he ended up signing in Jacksonville for pretty good money. But when I talked to him about it, he goes, "I know exactly who did this, and I'm not going to say it on this show." And I said, "Really?" And he goes, "Oh yeah." He said, "This stuff happens all the time across the board." And think about how long ago Hugh played.
Yeah.
Compared to now, it still happens now.
Sure.
Stuff like that.
Wow. Yeah, it's interesting. We see it in the draft all the time. Something comes out in the first round, just starting, and all of a sudden,
Nakobe Dean.
Yeah, Nakobe Dean, or who was our guy with the gas mask on?
Oh yeah, he said he's in Texas now.
Leo Collins, right?
Yeah.
That stuff it happened.
No, it wasn't Leo Collins. It was the tackle from. What was he at? He got drafted by Miami in the first round, and they traded him to the Texans.
Right. Yeah.
He's with the Texans right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of that stuff, that just
it happens all the time.
Well, look, you could go as far back if
Laramie Tunstall. That's
Laramie Tunstall. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody on the chat. Appreciate it. If you go back and watch, you guys have probably seen it. There's a great 30 for 30 on Elway and Marino.
Right, I saw that.
And it's their agent, Marvin Demoff, I think is the agent.
Yep.
Who repped a lot of guys back in the day.
Yeah, he did. Yep.
So they're walking through. It's fascinating because Elway's situation is totally different than Marino's.
Yep.
Elway told Baltimore, the Colts, I'm going way back for people who don't remember this, but the Colts used to play in Baltimore. So he told them, I don't draft me. I'm telling you I won't play for you. Don't draft me.
Yep.
They took him anyway. Okay. And that started a whole thing. And Elway was a legitimate baseball player, not just some poser. Like he could have been a major league player. He was that kind of athlete.
Yep.
So he said, "All right, I'm playing for the Yankees. Unless you trade me, I'm good. See ya." So he put all kinds of pressure on Baltimore. They ended up trading him to the Broncos. But the Marino part is where I'm getting with this. So there was a rumor put out there that Marino had a drug problem.
Yep.
Marijuana.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, worse.
No, worse than
Others.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
was it worse? Okay.
Yeah.
So if you look at Marino's college tape and numbers, it's ridiculous.
Yep.
No way is that dude falling in the first round. But he kept falling and fall. Pittsburgh passed on. He grew up. He could see the stadium.
That's right.
He literally grew up in Pittsburgh.
Yes, he did.
So that stuff has been, my point is, that's been going on for 40 years. That was the 83
Absolutely.
draft.
And
So
nothing's changed.
Nope.
Nothing's changed, man. I mean, you have a team that steps out of the realm of reality, like in Arizona paying Kyler Murray or Cleveland paying Deshaun Watson, that kind of money. But for the most part, owners are in unison in terms of how they want to approach certain things, and especially when it comes to damaged goods.
Right.
Now eventually they all know Odell's going to sign with somebody, but it's interesting how they also say, look, we can drive him down. We can drive his asking price down instead of being forced to pay this astronomical figure, which affects your cap, next year. We can drive his numbers down and get him at a bargain basement price. Then if we like him, then we might open a bank account for him in 2023.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. So, all right, back to what with the Eagles who are here. How much love do we give? And this is sort of the question with Hurts that you guys were talking about, with a great offensive line and talent around him. But how much love do we give Sirianni and Steichen for how good the offense is and for the development of Jalen with the leap that he's taken from year 2 as a starter to year 3 as a starter?
I posed a question to a couple of my producers of NBC Sports in Philly, and I said, how do you think Doug could have helped in Hurts' progression? Who would you say is the better staff? Who would have made him a better player? I mean, would he be at the same level as he is now with Doug Peterson and his staff? Mm-hmm. And eventually, everybody went to the same conclusion that if it was the 2017 staff,
there you go.
They said yes, but towards the end, when you have Press Taylor,
yep,
right, and Grow and that crew,
right, no,
yeah. When you say Doug and Frank Reich, and while you're talking, I'm thinking exactly the same thing, and I didn't know what you were going to say. That's it, but you're right. After that, absolutely not.
Nope,
no.
Yeah, no. And I think and mentioned him yesterday, but should be mentioned as well. Brian Johnson too. Brian Johnson has the connection with him.
No question. From way back when.
Way back from his Houston days as a kid. Yeah. So that I think the Eagles did a lot of smart things, man. They brought in Steichen, who's been a real good offensive coordinator who could be a head coach next year. They brought in Brian Johnson, who he's got the familiarity with, and Sirianni's a guy who's an offensive minded quarterback receiver kind of guy. That's so big for the development. How many times have we seen a guy with talent just go into a bad spot and he never recovers from it?
Sure.
Whether he's drafted there or whatever.
Well, I didn't know we were talking about Wentz. Oh, my fault. We aren't talking about Wentz.
Well, don't also overlook the fact they brought in Marty Mornhinweg as an offensive consultant.
True.
See, just to see things that maybe they didn't see. You know what I mean? So when you ask the question, how much love should Steichen and Sirianni get? My answer is as much as you can possibly give them, because they identified his skill set all last year when he went through his lumps. They spent endless time with him in the offseason, studying film, going over their playbook, going over their play selection for him. They whittled it down to what suits him best, and they enhanced that. Man, what the heck? What kind of show is this?
What's the matter?
Yoki.
We got cats walking across the set.
It's not. Tell them.
Cats.
Tell her.
Hey, just make sure she doesn't give you a little present like I got today. I got 3 presents.
I'm surprised she's not wearing bows in her hair. No, it's Sanji, But you can't give those two guys, Steichen and Sirianni, enough accolades for what they did in terms of streamlining and enhancing Jalen Hurts and playing to his strengths even more so than what they were getting accustomed with for 17 games last year.
Absolutely. You hit it right on the head, man. Yeah. Absolutely. Allowing him to grow. And remember, we were talking trash about him well, why did he go to California? He's in California with Merkel with this person, this, that, and this trainer and this person. And he went and did exactly what he needed to do to become a great, great player, man. Right now he's playing at a great level, not a good level, a great level. You know, to me, it's hard to say anything, but he's played like an MVP.
Well, you just get the impression this guy just eats, sleeps, and breathes it, man.
Yes.
You know, like it's consuming, you know, all consuming, and that's for the team's sake and our sake. That's great. You know, for everybody who's a fan of the team, it's great.
Well, I would also say we don't know this. How much input did they allow Jalen to have in how they wanted the offense structured? I mean, keep in mind, 23 years old, 24 years old, still learning the game as a pro. But if they're a smart coaching staff, you also implement what the quarterback has to say. You know, and I'd like to know to what degree they allow Jalen to say, I like this, I don't like this, I like this, I don't like that. You know, instead of saying, okay, Jalen, yeah, we hear you, but this is what we're going to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you look at Jalen, and I've said this so many times, he is far away, head and shoulders above his age in terms of maturity.
Absolutely. And
I'm sure the Eagles identified that. And if they're a smart coaching staff, you listen to your quarterback. You structure offense to make him better, but you also listen to him to make him even more comfortable with what he wants to do, what you need him to do in that offensive flow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's almost freakish how mature he is. You know, from that standpoint, it is phenomenal. And here's the other part: credit where credit's due. You know, Howie Roseman went out and got him an established star, like not. Hopefully, you know, this may turn out to be this. When you go out and get him an AJ Brown, I mean, it's just such a move that puts you over the top too, from what it was. I mean, frankly, they struggled in the passing game last year for a lot of reasons. One was he just had to get better as a quarterback, but the other part is he had limited options. You know, he had Devontae, but his other starting receiver was Jalen Reagor. Mm-hmm. You know, and there is no comparison. There's no comparison.
Well, also give Howie, let's go back now. Give Howie credit for drafting this dude in the second round.
Absolutely.
When you still had a guy you considered your franchise quarterback. Mm-hmm. And they drafted him in the second round when he was projected to go in the third or fourth round.
Yep.
They took him in the second round.
Yep.
You know, and you're thinking, what are they doing? They have so many other needs. What are they doing taking a quarterback in the second round?
Right.
A guy who's going to sit on the bench because you just gave this dude $130-$140 million. He's not going anywhere. What did you draft this dude for?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. That could go either way, man. It just turned out it's our favor because, I mean, man, that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, it ended the other guy.
But Barrett, you don't take a quarterback in the second round when you were a team that had at that time you had a need for a wide receiver. You had another need for linebackers. You had a need for secondary personnel. You had a lot of needs on that team when they drafted him in that second round.
I know, man.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So what did they identify in Carson even before they decided to make that decision that led to them? See, you don't make that move unless you're already identifying little traits in your existing quarterback who you'd given a boatload of money to.
Well, Derek, you answered your own question. What you didn't see in Hurts, did you just see a Carson you saw in Hurts? The leadership qualities, the accountability aspect, and the relationship that they can form within that locker room with a guy who understands that he has to be a leader. You have to make sure you cross your T's, you dot your I's. You have to make sure you're the hardest worker on the team. All those things were not in Carson Wentz, or he did not use those things. And if they're in him, he didn't display them to anybody within the organization enough to keep them around.
I agree with you 100%.
You saw everything. It's like you look at them. It's like looking at opposites. You know what I'm saying? When you look at who Carson is and when you look at who Jalen is, they're just polar opposites.
I agree with you 100%. But that was at a time Carson had them by the cojones financially.
Absolutely.
Because of the money you had given him. Okay. So to make that move, and you had just given this man a fresh new contract.
I couldn't believe that. Number one, that they let him go. You could have bought me with a wooden nickel.
Yeah.
I thought there was no way on God's green earth that Carson Wentz would have left this team.
No.
There's no way that he should have left this team. He should still be here right now. Not saying he's supposed to be here right now.
Oh, no,
I'm
he
glad
shouldn't.
he's gone. Yeah, I know. I'm glad he's gone. But financially, I had never seen a team take that big of a loss for a player inside a locker room that wasn't in your locker room. He wasn't even on the team, and he had a $34 million cap hit.
Very true.
Never seen that before. Have you guys seen that before?
No.
Nope.
No. It's all the more remarkable that the Eagles are in the position that they're in. You took that cap hit. You weren't sure if you had a quarterback. You had to get rid of the other guy. He forced your hand to get rid of him. You had to fire your coach. You hired a guy nobody ever heard of.
Right.
You were looking really bad in certain positions. You made the trade. You moved down. You still got Devontae Smith, which worked out perfectly. You look, they made a lot of good moves. And then this offseason, how he smelled blood in Tennessee, he smelled blood in a couple other situations.
Saints.
The Saints
Yep.
to get CJ. They get Bradbury, which was brilliant. They get Kaiser White. They knew some organizations couldn't afford to keep these guys, and they pounced on them right away. But there's so many things along the way that you could just like check that were just really smart tactical moves.
Absolutely.
That the Eagles made, which
If
also puts you where you are.
If Howie isn't the executive of the year, who is? I mean, think about it. Who is?
It's not the guy with the Titans.
No, heck
No,
no.
it's not him.
No.
I would say, if New York continues to kind of fall apart here, like I think that what's his name, Shine, who came over from Buffalo to took over the Giants, had a shot because of the Dable.
He's too
hiring.
new though.
No, I hear you.
Yeah.
I
He
hear
hasn't
you.
done enough. It's not his team yet.
The Vikings, the guy in Minnesota's new too.
Yeah. Yep.
He's probably deserves a little love. They're 10-2.
What about the Niners?
Yeah, but John Lynch.
Yeah.
Where else?
Miami.
Miami. Yeah.
Miami.
The money
He's
they
new
spent.
though too. He's new also though.
No, he had survived all the.
Oh, that's
craziness
right. He
with
did.
Flores.
That's right.
Yeah,
he
he
did.
survived all. Greer is the.
Greer. Yeah, he did. He did.
So
What GM should be fired? A la
The one in Houston.
Houston. The GM.
Yoki's very involved in this segment. Yeah.
Right.
Yoki said, "I got something to say. I want to be heard. Dang it."
Okay, who should be
She want
fired?
water.
Let's see.
Cleveland,
Arizona.
The problem with the Cleveland thing is though, like the owner wanted that.
Oh
Yeah.
The Deshaun
Yep.
Watson thing.
Yep.
Right. Oh, Denver.
Denver.
Oh my goodness, Denver.
The
What a mess.
Raiders.
Although the Raiders are making a move,
a little bit.
They
little
won
bit.
4. They won 3 out of 4.
three in a row.
You know who might be in a little trouble? Mickey Loomis.
Man, that's
in
the
New
loudest
Orleans.
cat I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Leave Yoki alone, man. She wants something to drink. Hold on, babe. We're going to break in a minute. Hold on.
Hold on,
Yeah.
babe. Talking to the dog like.
You know who's a goner?
Who?
Steve Keim in Arizona. He's gone.
Oh, you
So
gotta
his
go.
thing's very- Yeah,
You
that
gotta
thing's gonna
go.
be blown to
Well,
bits.
what? I mean, shouldn't the Panthers GM be held accountable for what's going on?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a bad owner too.
Yep.
It's a bad owner. That's the other. In fairness to some of these guys, I'm sure they didn't want to make some of these moves, and the owner was all over them to do it.
Right.
That's I guarantee. I bet you if you ask Kevin Stefanski, who's the coach, not the GM, I know, but if you asked him, did he want to go through this circus with Deshaun Watson? He would have said no. I don't think
Right.
he wanted any of this.
No,
But you got to make the best of it.
No, that's a circus. I mean, a coach just want to coach with as least outside distractions as possible. That's been nothing but a circus for Cleveland because every week it's about him. It's about Deshaun. It's not about the struggles, the trials, and tribulations of what the team is going through. It's about Deshaun. And
Well, the
coaches
Saints
don't
are
want to deal with that mess.
You ain't never lied. But the Saints kind of teeter-tottering also.
The Saints had what they needed. It just didn't play out. You know, you knew they're gonna have Jameis Winston and Andy Dalton. Neither one has panned out, and
Yeah.
the team as a whole has been inconsistent, and Michael Thomas has not been there again.
Yeah, he's always hurt.
So that just didn't pan out. They had everything they needed. They kept the defensive coordinator, who's one of the most respected in the game, elevated him to head coach. They kept the offensive coordinator, Pete Carmichael, who's been there since 2009.
Yeah.
So it's not like they had wholesale changes. You look, and we talked about it as the season started. That team was loaded on defense with talent. They had plenty of weapons on offense. The quarterback was a big question mark. And the quarterback has cost them in a lot of ways.
Let's face it. In that league, if you don't have a quarterback, you're dead.
You're dead.
None of it
You're
matters.
dead to rights.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You can have a great look at Denver. Look at the way Denver's defense has played this year. But because the offense has sucked, and Russell Wilson, I don't know what he's either cooked or they just haven't fit the offense, the way they should around him. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's a tough deal. Hey, so Vrabel at his meeting with the media today, he was asked a lot of questions about the John Robinson thing, and he basically said, like, I had nothing to do with it. That was made above me. But he was asked about A.J. Brown and the trade. He said, quote, here's what I feel. To look back and second guess, we made a decision. We felt like it was in the best interest of the football team. Paused for a while. A.J.'s in Philadelphia. Like, basically, what else do you want me to say? We all know. We saw the reaction draft night. We know he stormed out.
Great way to do it, though.
Yeah.
Great way to do it.
Yeah.
You handled it like the consummate professional. You can't go against your bosses. You don't want to cause any more in-house tension when you're trying to hold on, win a division, get to the playoffs again. Now you could tell by his body language and by what he did not say how he felt. That's all he's going to give you. He's smart enough to know that's all he's giving you.
Exactly. I mean, sometimes you just got to know. Like some people, could tell their boss anything. Like tell the boss, "I dreamed about hitting you with the car." Then I woke up.
I don't know anybody who did that. I don't know anybody like that. I don't know what like you say, we all in front of company. What are you talking? I never said about anything about hitting the boss with a car. I never said that, by the way. I'll go on record. Now I might have said a few other things, but I never said that.
I had to embellish it a little bit.
I know. But you got people sitting in the chat talking about what?
Derek's violent.
What?
Yes. Oh my God. All right, let's get
you and Xander leave my puppy alone, man.
Yeah, you go feed Yoki or whatever's going on there.
Yeah,
all right, don't feed her any chapstick.
Right.
If I can give you any advice today, keep the dog away from chapstick.
Put that dog in the crate, man.
Oh my God. All right, so we'll come back. We'll dig a little bit more into the Phillies. Hey, coming up at 1:30, Jordan Reynon from ESPN.com. He covers the Giants. We'll talk to him. 2:00 NFL. We'll dig into everything that's happening around the league, including AFC, NFC. But AFC certainly with the power rankings, and then buy or sell Super Bowl edition. So don't go anywhere. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Pro Action Restoration. Pro Action Restoration is the place that you call, let's face it, when you're in a tough spot, if you have water, fire, smoke, mold damage to your property or your home or a business that you may own. They're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. I know personally from dealing with Pro Action Restoration, they got to my parents' house on a Saturday and fixed up the mess, and it looked like it was going to be absolute chaos. They do an unbelievable job. The price was right. Crew was professional. They're licensed, bonded, fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company. So again, it could be water, it could be fire, it could be smoke, it could be mold remediation, any of the above, and then some. They can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760. That's 610-623-3760, or reach out to them online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.